Big, huge fake news weekend. And don't worry, the Dan Bongino Show is here on Monday to clear away the fog and give you clear sight to what actually happened. So this story, probably in a New York Times weekend. Washington Examiner covered. I'm not linking to the New York Times story because it's fake news. Washington Examiner. Trump intel did not find Russia Taliban bounty plot report credible. What happened? Let me give you a little bit of backstory. I'll show you a screenshot from the piece in a minute. New York Times, bombshell. Bombshell for all the wrong reasons. They said the Russian GRU, their intel folks, were paying the Taliban in Afghanistan bounties to kill American soldiers. Serious story. There may be some air of credibility to it. But that's not the angle of the New York Times story, because remember the golden rule of the left-wing media, which is what, Joe? The left-wing media is not there to tell you the story. They're there to tell you a story. A story. Every single time. The story they were telling you in their version of events was, and Trump was briefed on this, that the Taliban was taking bounties from the Russians to kill U.S. soldiers, and he didn't do anything. What really happened here? If you would have waited 24 to 72 hours to report on this absurdity from the New York Times, you notice I didn't parlay about it or tweet about it this weekend at all, because I knew there was a 99% chance that the story was in fact fake. Here's the Washington Examiner. Remember the gist of the story. President Trump was briefed about this threat and did nothing because he loves the Russians, Joe. He loves them. So, from the Washington Examiner, prior to Trump's tweet, a senior Trump administration official had told the Examiner on Sunday evening that Trump had not been briefed on the issue because there was a lack of consensus within the intel community about the accuracy of the intelligence. National Security Council spokesman John Uliott told the Washington Examiner on Sunday night that the veracity of the underlying allegations continues to be evaluated. Oh, my gosh. Here we go again. The New York Times running with an anonymous story about a brief they say happened that never happened, based on intelligence they're sure is real, but is still being questioned by many in the intelligence community. I'll tell you what's really going on in a second with this story. You're obviously still getting some of it. What's really going on, it makes Trump look bad, is what's really going on. But ladies and gentlemen, you have to understand at this point, it's almost amusing how stupid a lot of liberals are. You have been lied to so often by the New York Times and the Washington Post. I mean, on a daily basis almost. Fake news, hyperbolic news, collusion hoaxes, Spygate didn't happen, just a cesspool of fake journalism, and you're still falling for it. This did not happen. This brief didn't happen. Nice. This brief did not happen, according to the own intel communities you're saying you believe. Here's what's really going on. The media, Joe, has magically transformed itself overnight from, in the Obama administration, Obama and Hillary Clinton administration, where Hillary Clinton was the Secretary of State. Remember how dovish they were? You know, Bush, warmonger. Yeah. Remember, they were all doves. Now the media has magically transformed themselves into war hawks. All of a sudden, they're tough guys. But Trump, he needs to bomb Russia tomorrow. Bomb them tomorrow if this is true. They don't believe any of that. What's really going on is they know this story hurts Trump, so they printed it without verifying the story in the brief or any of that. They know it hurt Trump. And they know it hurt Trump because it brings up long debunked Russia allegations as well. Ladies and gentlemen, it's no more complicated than that, but there's something else going on. This is what I'm getting from my sources behind the scenes here. This is important. There is an entire cottage industry in this defense industry, industrial complex we have. I don't like to use those terms because they carry such like, oh my gosh, like conspiracy type. It's just a fact that there's a bunch of people in think tanks and elsewhere, upper levels of our military, some, and others in private industry that support these causes, that are very invested in foreign excursions that candidly haven't worked out. notably Afghanistan. President Trump has started asking questions. Like, hey, why are we here again? Why are we still in Afghanistan? I'm missing it. Please, someone explain to me. They don't like that. That entire complex of people who have invested their white papers, their careers, their money, and their companies in this operation are really bothered by the fact that President Trump is seriously considering pulling down this footprint overseas. That story's kind of convenient, isn't it? Because they're trying to play him. Some of you are picking it up. Are all of you? The Slimes now is getting anonymous tips from these people. The Slimes is just running with it, the New York Slimes, because they know it makes Trump look bad. He didn't do anything. Our troops are being killed. And it's Russia. They're not anymore. The Times isn't any smarter than that. The leakers on the inside are doing it for a different reason. They're trying to play President Trump. They're trying to get him to pull back from this questioning of Afghanistan by doing kind of triple, quadruple reverse psychology. If we leak this fake story that he was briefed about it, that makes him look like a wuss, like he was briefed about these attacks on our soldiers, he did nothing, Joe. They think President Trump will lose control of himself and respond back by saying, we're going to bomb Afghanistan to smithereens. You get it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which will reinforce their previously held position that we shouldn't leave there. I hope I didn't confuse you all. I'm desperately trying not to. But there are people invested. You get it? Totally invested in us being in Afghanistan. Yeah. They think if they paint Trump as a wuss in the papers, Trump will respond back and say, I'm not a wuss. We're bombing everyone, which will reinforce their prior position and keep their policy integrity intact. That's what's really going on.
You just heard Dan Bongino.